Rosenior has returned to League One. Brentford have launched a £19 million bid for Trabzonspor midfielder. Onana has ruptured his ACL, and Chelsea are opening to allow Garnacho to leave. Here are your daily Premier League news headlines. Hello everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the Daily Premier League News Headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. My name's Lee The Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's get into it here on the main stories today. Rosenior has returned to France and League One and has been appointed as Paris FC's new manager. He has signed a 2-year deal and will begin training with the team on Thursday. He left Strasbourg in January to join Chelsea, but lasted just under 4 months after he was sacked in April. The 41-year-old has also managed Derby County and Hull, but now he returns to France. Brentford have launched a £19 million bid for Trabzonspor midfielder Christ Ulaina. That's according to The Sun. La Gazzetta dello Sport also adds that Juventus are interested in the 20-year-old Ivory Coast international. Sean Sturr has left Ajax's training camp in Garderen and is awaiting permission to finalise his move to Newcastle. Sky Sports News understands Ajax and Sturr have been in disagreement over his role in the team for next season. Sturr believes he should be playing a more of a key role than the club are able to guarantee him. It is believed this disagreement has resulted in the teenager being put on the list to play for their under-21s. Onana has ruptured his ACL in Belgium's win against the USA, according to The Athletic. The 24-year-old is now set to have an extended spell on the sidelines, with Aston Villa set to reassess their midfield options, having not initially planned to recruit in that area this summer. Chelsea are open to allowing Garnacho to leave the club on a permanent deal a year after the winger joined from Manchester United last summer, according to Football London. However, other reports add the Blues will not accept a loan offer for the 22-year-old who struggled to adapt at Stamford Bridge and scored just one Premier League goal last season. Brighton centre-back Igor Julio is of interest to clubs in Europe and Brazil. Newly promoted Bundesliga side Schalke have had a bid for a loan with an option to buy rejected by Brighton this summer. Cruzeiro have long-term interest in Julio, who spent half the season last season on loan at West Ham. Brighton have brought in Michael Svoboda from Venezia. Luka Viskovic set to join the Seagulls this window. Ipswich have agreed a deal with Toulouse for striker Emerson. Sky Sports News understand the fee, including add-ons, will be around a total of £26.6 million, €31 million. There is understood to be a sell-on clause in the agreement. Fellow promoted side Hull City have also been interested in the 21-year-old. Last month, Sky Sports News reported a £17.3 million was turned down by the French club. The Brazilian is now travelling to the UK for a medical. And Brentford are close to signing Callum Wilson on a free. The striker is a free agent after leaving relegated West Ham and is set to sign a 1-year deal. This is pending the outcome of a medical to take place this week. Wilson can provide cover and competition for upfront for Igor Thiago. The 34-year-old almost left the Hammers in January but stayed and ended the season with 7 goals. So, some thoughts on these stories. Rosenior returning to France. Well, I think that's a good move, isn't it? It clearly just did not work for him at Chelsea. Became a bit of a figure of fun during the season. Lots of memes looking like the in-betweeners and so on and so forth. It really just didn't work for him. Big club, probably far too early for him. you know, having stints, with all due respect to Derby County and Hull City, you know, they are a lot smaller than the job at Chelsea for sure. And chuck into Lions Den like that, you know, it's a big deal. But listen, I'm sure his bank balance will fill in with an awful lot of comfort and that in the meantime. So yeah, so interesting to see him go back there. Let's see how he gets on. Paris, obviously with their second team in Paris, see how they get on and go from there. They had a difficult season last season, as I understand it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he can resurrect his career and actually give himself a little bit more credit than he probably has currently. So Newcastle already in working hard on new deals with Sean Sturr, a target for them. It makes sense, you know, Newcastle, you know, as much as they will be happy to get £100 million for Tonali, will want those recruits in there. Will need to still keep building and moving forward. You know, they believe that they are a big club with a lot to offer, and you know, with all of the players kind of moving on from there, you know, bringing in new recruits, that they've got plenty of money to spend now. 100 million for Tonali and 70 odd million for Gordon, and there's talk of Gumaresh moving on as well. So, you know, they'll definitely need to appease some of their fan base with more and more players coming in to see if they can keep their reputation and keep their momentum going under Eddie Howe. Onana doing his ACL, that's bad news for him. We all know about those as Tottenham fans, with all the problems we've had with ACLs and so on. So disappointing for the player for sure, and difficult for Aston Villa, because now they're going to have to start looking at recruits in there, which then kind of moves on to Chelsea looking for Garnacho to move on. Didn't realise he was still only 22, still just a young man for sure. Didn't work out at Manchester United, didn't work out at Chelsea. Where could he be going? Where could he be going next? Could he perhaps go to somewhere like Villa? I don't know. Be interesting to see what happens with him. And obviously Brighton, with interest in their centre back moving on, because it looks like they are getting Luka Vuskovic. That's one I really didn't want to happen, if I'm being honest. I've talked about it previously. Not keen on that, but I guess we'll see whether all the hype is really worth it once he puts on that Brighton shirt and starts playing in the Premier League. He didn't look as big as the hype in his games in the World Cup, but 19 years of age, still got plenty of time. Tottenham obviously retain an interest in him, a sell-on clause and so on. So all is not lost from that point of view, but a good move for Brighton. Brighton do tend to buy well. They tend to find these gems and turn them into really good players. So good for him. Good for him. Good for Brighton if that comes off. And then finally, I just wanted to pick up on the Callum Wilson story. Another kind of journeyman moving around different clubs and spending a year here and a year there and all the rest of it. And it kind of just shows what kind of level he's at, especially when you consider, you know, him kind of poking fun at Richarlison and so on and so forth about him in the past, and has now just been bumming around in different clubs. I'd be surprised if he went to Brentford, to be honest with you, because Brentford is a decent club. You know, they're not kind of relegation fodder. You know, they've kind of been in and around the Premier League a while now, and another club that's been very well run, done an awful lot of good business and so on. So doesn't strike me as the sort of player they were bringing in, but a free player, you know, just to kind of give them a little bit of competition for Thiago. So we'll see. We'll see what happens from that point of view. But yeah, that'll be that'll be an interesting one for me. But anyway, I'm back from my holidays. Apologies for not putting out any Premier League news headlines over the last week. But thanks for watching and listening to this one. I really do appreciate. Hope you enjoyed it. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm Lee The Dorset Spur. If you'd like to pop over and say hi on my channel, I'll be more than grateful to have you over there. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.